Now we will teach you how to play poker. In this video you will learn the rules of Texas Hold'em poker. It's a game where 2 or more players can get involved. In this example we will show you a 6-player poker game, the most popular form of poker on the internet. In each round one player posts a small blind. And another player posts the big blind. These are compulsory bets for these 2 players. The other 4 players can play for free. To make it fair, in the next round a different player has to post a small blind, and a different player has to post the big blind. There are 4 betting rounds in a game of poker. In the first round, called the pre-flop round, the player acting next to the big blind position begins. There are 3 different options as player can take. He can call, which means putting in the big blind. Or he can raise, which means putting in more money than the big blind. The last option is folding, which means you throw your cards away. The next player will also have similar options. To call, fold, or raise. Once every player has contributed the same amount of money, the chips are moved to the middle of the table. And the second round, the flop round, begins. In the second round 3 community cards are dealt face up on the poker table. Every player can use his 2 private cards and the 3 community cards to form a 5-card poker hand. Small blind player is the first to act. He can check, which means not betting anything, or he can bet by putting some money in the middle, which other players will have to match if they want to stay in the game. The final option is to fold, which means throw your cards away just like in the pre-flop round. Once someone has finished acting, the player to his left will act. Let's say that the first player bet 10 chips, the next player can either fold, or call, which means matching the bet of 10 chips. Or he can raise, which means putting in more than 10 chips, such as 30 chips. Once everyone has contributed the same amount of money, the third betting round, the turn round, begins. 1 more community card will be dealt on the table, which means there are now 6 cards available to you, 2 in your hand, and 4 on the table. You can use any 5 out of the 6 cards to form a 5-card poker hand. How you play in the third betting round is exactly the same as how you play in the second betting round. Once everyone has contributed the same amount of money in the turn round, we come to the last betting round, the river round. 1 more community card will be dealt face up on the poker table, which means there are now 7 cards available to you, 2 in your hand, and 5 on the table. You can use any 5 out of the 7 cards to form a 5-card poker hand. The fourth betting round is played in exactly the same way as the second and third betting rounds. After the 4 rounds of betting, any player remaining has to show his cards in the showdown. Whoever has the best 5-card poker hand wins the pot. The rest lose. It's a winner-takes-all game, and that's why poker is attractive. Because when you win big. With a lot of money on the line, you should be careful with your betting decisions. Your decision to either bet, fold, call, raise, or check should depend on how strong your 5-card poker hand is.